What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a video that I promised, and I am keeping my promise. I am on board the Zontes 350E, which I did a review around the yard in a video right here, or you can click it right here somewhere. But, and it's a big fat but, today this one is fully registered. And I get to take it on a bit of a road trip because I have a couple of errands, so to speak. I have a bit of a trip to embark on. It's about 200 kilometers to my destination and another 200 kilometers back. Tonight we're gonna do the first 200, and tomorrow I'm gonna ride back. So it's not up in the mountains, it's on the plains, but we're gonna have like side roads, normal roads, and then on the way back we're gonna do about 100 kilometers of highway. Currently it's about 8 or 9 degrees. I am not fully kitted out in heated gear or anything. I am going to turn on my heated grips. Now this is a bone stock Zontes 350E, basically taken out of the box yesterday actually. So this is a bone stock unit with only 5 kilometers. So we're also going to take it a little bit easy because it's in its braking period. Only 5.2 kilometers. Oh, this is going to be an interesting one. I really want to know how this thing rides long distance. Actually, I don't know if I want to know how this thing rides long distance, because this might be a very dangerous trip in the sense that I might like it a little bit too much. And yeah, I'm itching at the thought of getting something new, and this fits. This kind of fits the bill as to what I'm looking for in a scooter, in a motorcycle. If it tours like it says on paper it should tour, then yeah, I may have a bit of a problem. But first, before we get out of the city, let's go fuel this thing up, and I want to see what kind of mileage we get at the end of the trip. Currently we're on just 1 red bar of fuel, so yeah, that 16.5 liter fuel tank between my legs needs to be filled to the brim, so we can see what kind of fuel consumption this thing has, what kind of range does it have. Really curious to see all of those things. And here we are, it's fueling time, it's fueling time. Let's give this little behemoth a bit of a drink, and then we have 200 kilometers out on the open road through the cold, because it is gonna get a little bit chilly. We're gonna say chilly, to say the least. Probably about 5 or 6 degrees. There we go. Everything electronic, of course it is. And now, as far as I know, we put in the warehouse about 3 liters of fuel in it, so we're gonna see how much it takes. It should take about 16 liters because it was bone dry. They arrived bone dry. Well, this is a bit of a faff, but oh well. Okay, that's good enough. 95. How easy it is to pump fuel? Seems easy enough. It seems to be going in easily. It's not complaining, but will it stop? What are we up to? 13 liters. Okay, so out of 3 liters we probably used a little bit because we cover like 13 kilometers. And 13.5 liters. So yeah, it's about a 16.5 liter fuel tank. Could have probably crammed in a little bit more fuel, but it is what it is. Alright, that's it. Fuel is paid. It's time to hit the road and hit it hard because it's late in the evening and I want to get to my destination rather quickly, so I just don't sit too much in the cold. All I want is a bit of... Did I bring water with me? Yes, I did. So just a sip, or... I think it fits in there. Let's try it out. Come on. Close. Perfect. Ignition on. Does it fit in here? I do have my baseball cap in here. Let's put this one under the seat. And now, oh yeah, fits beautifully. Let's reset our trip meter, go into 0, grab a drink of water. I'm guessing this is gonna be a fun trip. Hopefully it's not gonna be too cold, but up to this point this thing has had some beautiful weather protection. Heated grips, come on. And I've been riding with the windscreen down, but now we're getting close to the city limits, and I'm gonna raise the windscreen, because if I have an adjustable windscreen, why not raise it? I mean, it only makes sense. The key is a little bit bulky under my jacket, but we can get it in a proper position. There we go. If you're wondering, the key is on my hand. All right. 200 kilometers. Come on, little Zontes. Let's see what you got in you. We're not completely out of the city. We're in the suburbs. And punch it. So yeah, we're still in the suburbs. We're not out of the city, but we are getting close to the city limits, or the metropolitan area limits to be precise. We are technically out of Bucharest. This thing is bloody comfortable, and the weather protection I'm gonna see at higher speeds, but at 70, 80, 90 kilometers an hour I don't feel anything, neither wind on my legs, on my chest, on my helmet. Probably at higher speeds we're gonna feel a little bit more wind, but it's not gonna be a trip through the mountains, because honestly we just gave it registration. We don't have many in stock. I don't know how long they're gonna last, but this E350 at the moment is not gonna be a permanent fixture in the test ride fleet. So it could sell at any moment. So if I got the opportunity, I had a bit of a small trip this weekend. I'm gonna take it, see how it rides, because I'm really interested in this machine for myself actually. And I really want to see how it rides the open road. If I get a chance to go up in the mountains with it, of course I will, and of course everything will be filmed and on the channel. But for now I didn't want to pass up an opportunity to get about 400 kilometers under my ass on this thing. Good thing now at night we're gonna have to use, there are gonna be some parts on the road where it's gonna be really dark. I know this route like the back of my hand, but there's gonna be some really dark sections, and I really want to see how the lights are. I've heard people commenting on Zontes motorcycles, the LED lights are let's say not too good. So I'm really curious on this one, because I travel a lot and I very often find myself at night. So I kind of need a scoot with decent headlights. My Symphony ST has a beautiful headlight. It may be small, but it damn well makes a ton of light. This thing currently low beam is nothing to write home about, but it's okay, I can manage with it. I'm gonna see on the open road how the high beam is, especially when we get to some really dark areas. I'm really itching to get out of the city. Really itching to put the hammer down, open up the taps, and see what this thing will do. I'm not gonna give it the absolute beans because it's still in its braking period, but I really want to see how it cruises on the open road at speeds over 100 kilometers an hour, because it feels like this engine has some go in it. With about 37-38 horsepower in it, it should have some go, and the thing looks aerodynamic. But we'll see. We're very close to opening up the taps. Up to this point, it's impressing me quite a lot, and that's dangerous. Because last year I didn't buy anything, no new motorcycle, no new scooter, and I'm itching. My wallet is itching to be emptied. Now it's not like I can afford one of these, but in the back of my mind I know that's what financing is for, and yeah, that's a dangerous and slippery slope to go down. But man, is it ever good. I mean, at the moment I cannot fault it. Even the windscreen, I wouldn't change it for a bigger one. We're gonna see at higher speeds, but I got heated grips, I got ample weather protection and wind protection on anything from my helmet down. I got hand guards. I got a beautiful 7-inch TFT display that at night goes to this dark color that's very relaxing and not at all distracting. Fuel economy, currently it's 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers, so it's as economic as my ST200 for now. We are gonna do a proper economy run, and I'm gonna do the math to see exactly how economical it was on this trip, but for now everything is looking good. Let's see how much range it says we have with a fuel tank of gas. So it says 472 kilometers of range. That's a ton of range for a little scoot. And that's it. We're out of the city. If the trucks would move over just a little bit, I can open up the taps and let's see what she's got in her. Come on. Thank you. Oh, she's a flyer, boys. She's a flyer. 120 like it was nothing. Oh, no buffeting. Lights are actually good. I don't know if the headlights get picked up on camera properly, but yeah, I'm not gonna film too much at night, but boys, she's a flyer. She's a cruiser and a flyer. We got ourselves a touring scooter, like I said, the successor, the spiritual successor to the Bergman 400. It just has a way about it as it's rock stable at 125 kilometers an hour at night in the cold. I don't feel any wind on me. We're just flying down the road in perfect comfort, no vibrations. Engine is at a cool 6,000 RPM, relaxed. Fuel economy at this speed, let's see, 3.4, 3.2 liters per 100 kilometers at 120 kph. Oh boy, this is bad. This is bad. The situation is bad, but because the scoot is awesome. It ticks all the boxes, and I mean all the boxes, and that's dangerous. But anyway, I'm gonna get at it, and we're gonna catch up when I get to a portion where it's really dark and I can really try out the headlights and less traffic, and off the main road and onto the back roads, the really dark back roads. And well, we have lights. I mean, low beam is yeah, pretty low, but high beam is all I want from my lights. They're good lights. High beam, at least they're awesome lights. Damn it, another good point for this machine. Another good point. Now I know on the GoPro the lights don't come out all that awesome, and you probably can't tell, but believe me, there is plenty of light from the headlights. On low beams, yeah, I can see about 20 meters ahead of me, but as soon as I switch to high beams, I can see 50-60 meters perfectly clear, and then over 50-60 meters just it's a little bit shadowy, but I can make out what's going on. So the lights are good enough, and plus I have my illuminated hand controls, my illuminated handlebar controls, and yeah, there's no fumbling about searching for the buttons. Soon as another car coming in front passes, I can switch to high beams, and I can ride comfortably at 112 kilometers an hour on high beams in the dead of night. Believe me, it's pitch black, no ambient light, there's no moon on the sky. It's pitch black outside, about 5 or 6 degrees. I'm perfectly comfortable. Oh boy. Oh boy, like I said, this is bad. This is very bad. We've already done 67 kilometers with this machine, and I'm struggling to find something at fault with it, at least for this kind of activity, touring. Stay there. In the city, yeah, it's a little bit wide, it's a little bit of a whale, but riding long distance, I'm struggling to find anything wrong with it. But anyway, I'm gonna continue my journey and turn off the camera because honestly, you guys probably can't see anything. I'm gonna try to edit the colors a little bit to give you a little bit more brightness, but you're probably not seeing much. Anyway, onwards. Still got another 130 kilometers to go to my destination. And just like that, it's the next day and we are hitting the road once again. Another 200 kilometers back home, but today we are not going during the nighttime. It's actually 2:45, so I should arrive home on daylight, or at least in the evening. Yeah, I didn't film anymore last night because well, it was just dark. You probably couldn't see anything, so no point in me filming. Plus it got a little bit cold, and let's just say I was in a bit of a hurry to get to my destination before it got really cold. In terms of weather protection, the thing held up. I would have liked the heated grips to warm up just a tad more, but then again, maybe I should have had some better winter gloves. These are not quite winter gloves, my Odins, but with the handguards and the heated grips, they work decently. If the heated grips would have gotten just a little bit hotter, then it would have been even nicer. But yeah, now back on the open road. Windscreen is up. Again, in this bubble of calm that the scooter gives you. My legs are nice and tucked in. It's about 7 degrees outside. It's wet with a light drizzle, but I'm pretty well sheltered from the elements with the stock scooter, that is, which is saying a lot. In terms of fuel consumption, in 200 kilometers we've gone through about half a tank. I am gonna fill up in about 90 kilometers time, and I'm gonna see the first fuel consumption on back roads, and then we're gonna hit the highway, and when I get back to Bucharest I'm gonna fill up again so I can see the fuel economy on a highway, like at highway speeds. But mind you, these 200 kilometers I didn't baby it, and I didn't go for optimum fuel consumption. It was actually very cold outside and I was kind of in a hurry. So we're gonna see kind of the worst case scenario, considering this thing is also not broken in. I wasn't very light on the throttle, so yeah, we're gonna see kind of the worst case scenario in terms of fuel consumption. Currently I think it should be around 4 liters per 100 kilometers, which is really good, really good for the speeds that it's capable of maintaining. The open road, healer of the suffering soul, a bandage to life's trauma. There's just something about riding the open road. Those who know, and those who are lucky enough to be affected by riding the open road in a good way are really lucky people. You don't need a therapist, you just need miles upon miles of open road. Just you and your machine, alone with your thoughts in your helmet. Somehow it's very crowded, it's very loud, and yet peaceful. A loud serenity of peace. It's hard to explain if you've never tried it. It's hard to explain if you don't already feel it. This is something that does not need to be explained. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you are not blessed with this gift. I'm sorry. But it's one of those things that cannot be put properly into words. Many have tried, few have truly captured the magic that is riding the open road. It's a certain kind of beauty, no matter if it's warm outside, if it's cold outside, no matter what kind of road you're riding. The solitude, and yet it feels so real. You're so in contact with reality, even though you are all alone on this stretch of tarmac heading to your destination. It's absolutely beautiful and mesmerizing. And it's a gift I'm really glad I discovered, even if I discovered it in my 30s, but I'm tremendously glad that I've discovered it, and I know what I like and I know what I want in life. Now, not to wax poetics too much about the open road, of the joy of riding to the open road, it's still pretty chilly, and I am looking at the clouds, and if there's one thing that can I don't know, diminish the magic of riding the open road, that is mainly rain, but coupled with cold, yeah, that's not quite a good combination. But at least, in case somebody was wondering if this thing had enough passing power to pass trucks, well, there's your answer. Plenty of passing power. So at least the machine is as magical as can be, and it's allowing me to enjoy the road and enjoy the serenity of where I currently am and what I'm currently doing. Not much to say. The scooter is running absolutely beautiful. It's really comfortable, has just about everything I could wish on it. It's buttery smooth. Power delivery is, although not explosive, it is there. There's enough power to have fun with it and to get you down the road quickly. I really have nothing to complain about it, and that's saying much, considering I have a little bit to complain about everything. If there's something that maybe I would have liked, and I could say is a bit of a minus with how capable this machine is, and I'm probably gonna feel it most on the highway. That is cruise control. It would have been so awesome for this thing to have cruise control. Now, I didn't bring my throttle lock with me, but I know some people are not into the throttle lock thing, so yeah, cruise control would have been a nice bonus, even if it would have jacked up the price, I don't know, 200 or 300 euros. It would have been totally worth it, because otherwise this thing is an absolute touring beast. I could see myself covering continents and doing iron butts back to back on this thing. It's just that comfortable. I don't need another windscreen. I don't need hand protection, wind protection for my hand. I don't need heated grips. It has ABS, it has traction control. Cruise control is the only thing that I would say is missing from it for being an absolute awesome package. And one more thing I would have liked is this screen to have Android Auto. So cruise control and Android Auto could have made the price 500 euros more, but with cruise control and Android Auto, this thing would have been an absolute beast. It would have been, as near as makes no difference, perfect. Fuel consumption is on par. The way it rides, the way it handles, it's currently, we have a very gnarly side wind currently, and as you can see, I'm doing 110, one hand on the handlebar. The scooter is heavy enough and stable enough not to necessitate being kept in a lean when you have a crosswind. I don't know what to say more about it. It's extremely impressive. It's extremely eye-opening what you can get for this kind of money. I mean, this thing, if you want to tour the world, if you want to go around the world and you want to do it on something extremely comfortable that doesn't cost a lot of money, 6 grand, or in some markets even less than 6 grand, that is euros, out the door. All you need to do is put a top case on the back and you're golden. This is a very, very enjoyable experience, and I'm really glad I got the opportunity to properly put the E350 through its paces. It's a world-class machine. I know Zontes has been struggling ever since they came out the market. They tried to compete with the big manufacturers, but this is a world-class machine. It's fueling time, it's fueling time. Almost at the fuel station. So the fuel light just came on. As you can see here, it's yellow now, and we got 1 bar of fuel left. And trip computer says we still have another 69 kilometers of fuel left in the tank. We've covered 272 kilometers on this tank, and I'm really curious to see how much fuel goes in. I'm expecting to go about 12-13 liters, which should give us about 4 liters per 100 kilometers fuel economy, but we're gonna see as we arrive at the fuel station right now in a couple of 100 meters. All right, fuel station, quickly dip in. Hope it's not too crowded. It looks crowded, but hopefully we find an empty fuel pump. I don't want to stick around here too much. We still got a ways to go to get home. Oh, fuel pump. So our average speed was 86 kilometers an hour and 273 kilometers covered. We're gonna reset that trip meter and turn it off. Fuel 95 E10 because that's what we have available. I'm not gonna put 99 because it doesn't need 99. So that stopped at 12.38 liters. Okay, let's see, 12.38 liters divided by 2.73. That gives us a total of 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers. So worst case scenario of 4.5. Good. That's actually not that bad. Yeah, so it's a little bit, fuel consumption is a little bit higher than I was expecting, but honestly this was the absolute worst case scenario. This was its first full tank of gas, so unbroken in engine usually has a little bit higher fuel consumption. It was really cold outside. Most of the trip was below 5 degrees Celsius because I did most of the trip last night. I was kind of in a hurry. I was kind of not thinking about fuel economy, you know, doing overtakes, going just a smidge above the speed limit, let's say. So kind of 4.5 is the absolute worst case scenario, which is frankly not bad. With the cruise in the absolute worst case scenario I was able to get was 3.8, but that was a fully broken in engine and it was way warmer outside. It was like between 15 and 25 degrees Celsius outside, so it was properly warm outside. This one, we're in February, it's still winter. 4.5, that's not bad. I think in the summer with just some more relaxed riding and not being in a hurry, you could easily get that down below 4 liters per 100 kilometers, which should give you a range of over 400 kilometers. Now we're gonna head to the highway and put in about 100 kilometers of highway riding and then fill up again when I get to Bucharest, because I want to see how economical it is on the highway. We're gonna put it in eco mode because I was riding in sport mode, so we're gonna put it in eco mode because on the highway I do not need passing power. I need cruising speed and I need fuel economy for better range. But yeah, up to this point, fuel economy, not bad at all. For the way I rode it, these first 270 kilometers, for the way I rode it, fuel economy is actually quite good. There we go, Bucharest, 106 kilometers. Let's hit the highway, boys and girls. Let's see how this thing cruises on the highway. This is the big test for a touring scooter, cruising the highway. All right, here we go. Now I'm gonna put it back in sport mode because before we start our economy run, let's see what this thing's got. Windscreen up, wide open throttle, 130. It is a little bit windy, as in the wind is blowing. In terms of comfort, So this thing will cruise all day at this kinds of speeds. 146, 147. Yeah, probably with a little bit less wind. She's got 150 in it. But currently 156. Let's get smaller. Now that's what. So 145, 146, between 145 and 150. But now let's bring it back into eco mode, get it down to regular highway speed. So 120, 130, 127, 130. We're turning about 6,500 RPM. It's stone cold stable, rock stable. Yeah, just enjoy the ride and enjoy the highway as much as you can enjoy a highway. But yeah, you can cover some distance with this thing rather quickly. Now 147 might be top speed, but we're holding 130 with half throttle. So yeah, nothing to sneeze at for a 350cc scooter. Nothing to sneeze at. And fuel consumption at this speed, it's telling me about 4 liters per 100 kilometers. Yeah, that's not bad for this kind of speed. Again, just a tad over the cruise sim, about I think 10 to 15% over the cruise sim in terms of fuel consumption. But we're gonna see when we get back to Bucharest. We're gonna see the exact fuel consumption on the highway, maintaining these kinds of speeds in eco mode. Because currently I do not need sport mode. I don't need acceleration. I need it to maintain speed. Now, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I haven't felt a difference between eco mode and sport mode. Honestly, I haven't felt the difference in terms of acceleration between eco mode and sport mode. But for the sake of it, I'm gonna leave it in eco mode, and we're gonna ride like this for the next 100 kilometers, get back into Bucharest, and then fill up again and see our fuel economy. I'm really curious to see if it's lower than 4.5, or I don't know, maybe even higher, who knows. But I'm really curious to see the fuel consumption. Hopefully for the remainder of the day I don't get any rain. We still have about an hour to go on this highway, and all day the sky has been looking overcast like this, but currently not a drop of rain. So fingers crossed it holds out for another hour so I can get back in the city. In terms of temperature, I'm feeling about 6 or 7 degrees. Should be around 6 or 7 degrees. It's comfortable on the highway, enough weather protection. I got my heated grips on full blast. We got the wind protection for my hands. The windscreen is in its high position. It's not too terrible in terms of cold. Yes, you have to be pretty well dressed, but it's manageable. It's manageable as is. My legs especially are very well shielded from the wind, especially at these kinds of speeds. And here's us going for an overtake on the highway. Plenty of power in the old girl. Yep, this is a touring beast. I could ride like this, iron butt after iron butt.
I'm the dull stone at the bottom of a pool, tossed by the jealous waves of the sea. I'm not as strong as I appear to be. Round by the deepest depths of the lake, I lay alone in the darkest place. My sorrow, dream of the sun. I just wanna be the shining one.
you, tourists. Welcome back to my home, at least. So welcome back home for me. Highway's over. About 106 kilometers on the highway. It was very pleasant, very enjoyable. But now we're entering the city, and I gotta go fill it up because I am very curious to see how much fuel it used on a highway run. I did keep it at about 130, 135, which is my comfortable highway cruising speed. I know some people like it a little bit higher. For me, 130, 135 is good enough. But after I fill it up, we're gonna wrap this video up with a bit of a conclusion after over 400 kilometers in the saddle of the 350E. And once again, for the last time on this trip, it's fueling time. It's fueling time. Let's see what you did. Let's see. That's it. For 5.94 divided by 1.2. So that equals 4.95. So a little bit higher riding at these high speeds. So the old girl, she's thirsty. She's a little bit thirsty. But you can't deny it. It's a beautiful machine. Really enjoyed looking at it every time I stopped. It's quite a pretty machine, and on the highway at least, it did turn some heads. It did got some people pulling out their phones and taking pictures of it. Mind you, at least here in Romania, this is the first one on the road. So kind of a premiere. Heated grips back on. Right. So on the back roads, running pretty hard. 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers. On the highway, again, running pretty hard. 130 kilometers an hour. Sustained speeds. 4.95. When the weather warms up, probably by half a liter, both of those numbers will go down. But yeah, she's a thirsty girl. I think a cruise sim would be a little bit more economical. But then again, a cruise sim cannot maintain the speeds this does with such ease. I mean, a cruise sim will do 130, 140 on the highway, but you really have to keep it maxed out. This thing, I was cruising half throttle at 130, 135. So it's a little bit better for high-speed cruising. You can feel the engine has a little bit more power, a little bit more torque. Actually, quite a bit more power and torque. And yeah, it's more enjoyable at sustained higher speeds than the cruise sim is. The cruise sim is better at, I don't know, something like 120, 125 in terms of cruising speed, or 110, 120. This is really happy at 130. It's turning only about 6,500 RPM. So it's a bit of a better cruiser. Plus the weather protection is a little bit better at those high speeds. In terms of touring, it's just better in every single way. Like I've said, as a touring machine, it's an absolute beast. The only thing that I can fault it is not having navigation, proper navigation, as in Android Auto or Apple CarPlay on this big 7-inch dash. But that's easily fixable with a CarPuride navigation system. I did try one out and review one. If you click the link up here, there's also an affiliate link to something like that in the description down below. And the second thing is cruise control. And cruise control, for me at least, is a non-issue because I have no problem using a throttle lock. So yeah, for me these two things are kind of non-issues, but your mileage may vary on that one. For me at least, a throttle lock as a cruise control is no biggie. I enjoy it. I know how to use a throttle lock. I don't mind having a throttle lock on the highway. And for navigation, I would just mount the CarPuride right above here and be done with it. Have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto on it without having to mount my phone anywhere on the handlebars. Other than that, I would just put a top case on the back of it and tour Europe, and maybe not just only Europe. So yeah, like I've said in the beginning of the video, this might be a dangerous trip for my wallet, and yeah, as a conclusion, it was a very dangerous trip for my wallet. 400 kilometers in the saddle was nothing on this thing. I thoroughly enjoy it. I like how it handles, I like how the engine pulls, how the engine sounds, how the suspension soaks up bumps at speed. In the city it's a little bit harsh, but at higher speeds, at highway speeds, at anything above 80 or 90 kilometers an hour, it just starts getting a waft to it. I don't know, it's hard to explain. When you hit bumps at higher speeds, you don't feel the harshness, you just kind of waft and float on it. Through the city, yeah, the suspension is a bit harsh, but at higher speed it just has a superb ride at high speed. And that's why I would buy something like this, because I still have my Symphony ST as a city scooter, but this would be such an awesome touring machine, and more economical than my BMW. If I would have ridden my BMW at these highway speeds, it would get about 6.5 to 7 liters per 100 kilometers. So yeah, it's a little bit more economical than my BMW. It's very comfortable. Nothing I could fault it. This thing would be an absolute beast to tour Europe and beyond. In terms of reliability, that's still an iffy issue with Zontes, because they're still a newish brand. We don't know how the machines handle like 10-15 years of abuse. But currently the M310 scooters that we've sold so far have gone to 20,000 kilometers, 25,000 kilometers without any issues. A couple of blown fuses here or there, but nothing really major, nothing to scare you, nothing to leave you stranded. We haven't had anybody left stranded. As long as you keep a spare battery for the key fob, they've been rock solid, reliable. Yeah, difficult decision, but yeah, it was an enjoyable trip, an eye-opening experience, and an awesome machine from Zontes, a true touring beast, and like I've said in my review, a spiritual successor to the Bergman 400. Until next time, guys, take care out there, everyone, and ride safe. Bye.